Vora was a world of beauty and life. Its skies shimmered with shades of gold and blue, and its forests stretched endlessly, filled with creatures that moved with quiet grace. The rivers ran like silver ribbons across the valleys, and the mountains rose like guardians watching over the land. For generations, the Vorians had lived in harmony with their world, learning its secrets and protecting its balance. They had no desire for war. Talon stood on a cliff overlooking the capital city of Lyra. The wind ruffled his hair as he watched the horizon. He was young, but his mind was sharp, and his heart carried the weight of responsibility. News had come early that morning. Strange ships, larger than anything the Vorians had ever seen, were approaching their world. The Zeroth Dominion had arrived. The invaders were unlike anything Vora had faced. Their ships gleamed with metal that seemed to drink in the sunlight. They moved in perfect formation, silent and unstoppable. From Talon's vantage point, he could see the first wave of smaller crafts detaching and heading toward the planet's surface. The people of Lyra felt a chill run through them. "Are they here to trade, or are they here to take our lands?" a citizen whispered, fear in his voice. Talon did not answer. He only watched. The Zeroth Dominion was known across the galaxy for its power. Their technology was unmatched, and their soldiers had conquered countless worlds. Most of those worlds had no chance to resist. The Vorians, simple as they were, appeared powerless by comparison. But appearances could be deceiving. The scouts from the alien fleet touched down in the plains beyond Lyra. They stepped out in suits of dark metal, carrying weapons that hummed with energy. They surveyed the land, their sensors scanning the forests, rivers, and mountains. They laughed among themselves, confident that this world would surrender without a fight. Talon moved quietly through the city, meeting with other leaders and strategists. The Vorians had not built armies of metal and fire, but they had something the aliens did not understand. They had knowledge of their world and the power to defend it in ways outsiders could not predict. "We must not panic," Talon said to the council. "They believe we are weak. That is our advantage. We will watch, learn, and prepare. Vora will not fall without a fight." The council nodded. Among them were elders who had studied the planet for decades and young warriors ready to protect their homes. They had built small defenses, hidden in the forests and mountains. The aliens might have strength and speed, but the Vorians had patience, cunning, and unity. As the day passed, the alien scouts ventured further into Vora. They cut down trees without hesitation, and their machines dug into the earth as if it were nothing. Talon observed from a hidden ridge, noting every movement, every tactic. The aliens underestimated the Vorians. They believed that technology alone would win the day. By evening, the first encounters began. Small teams of Vorian defenders emerged from hidden paths. They did not attack with heavy weapons, but with clever traps. Nets that glowed with energy, pits covered with foliage, and creatures trained to respond to the Vorians' commands created confusion among the invaders. The aliens were startled. They had expected no resistance, and now their scouts reported back in disarray. Talon smiled quietly. This was only the beginning. He knew the Zeroth Dominion would escalate their attacks, but he also knew that Vora was not a world to be conquered so easily. Every tree, every river, every mountain held secrets that the Vorians could use. The planet itself was an ally. Night fell, and the invaders established temporary bases in the plains. Their ships glowed faintly against the dark sky, casting shadows on the forests. But Vora was alive. The wind carried messages among the trees, and the rivers shifted to create obstacles. Talon walked along the cliffs once more, feeling the pulse of his home world beneath his feet. "They think we are weak," he murmured. "They do not know the strength that lives in every heart of Vora." He looked toward the horizon where the alien fleet rested. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring more danger. But Vora had patience, and Vora had cunning. The people would not fight blindly. They would strike with precision, using every advantage the planet offered. And when the Zeroth Dominion realized that Vora was more than it seemed, it might be too late for them. Talon returned to the city as the first stars appeared. Lights flickered in homes, and families huddled together, sensing the tension in the air. Yet beneath the fear, there was hope. Vora had never been just a home, it was a shield, a force, and now, it was ready to reveal the fury that had always been hidden beneath its serene beauty. The stage was set. The aliens had arrived. Vora was watching. And Talon, with the wisdom of his people and the strength of his world, prepared for the battle to come. The morning sun rose over Vora, painting the sky with soft hues of pink and orange. The plains where the Zeroth Dominion had set up their temporary base were quiet, but tension lingered in the air. Talon moved through the forests near the plains, his eyes sharp and his senses alert. Today, he thought, the first real test of their defenses would begin. The alien scouts had grown bolder. They ventured deeper into Vora's lands, confident that nothing could stop them. Their metal suits gleamed under the sun, and their energy weapons hummed quietly. They did not see the hidden paths or the traps carefully placed by the Vorians. Every step they took brought them closer to a surprise they could not imagine. Talon signaled to a small team of Vorian defenders. They were young and trained, yet each of them carried the wisdom of the planet itself. The team moved silently through the undergrowth, using paths only known to the Vorians. Their weapons were not like the aliens. They relied on energy harvested from the land, small devices that could disable alien machines or create barriers of light. The scouts reached a river that flowed swiftly from the mountains. It seemed ordinary, but the Vorians had altered its course subtly, creating currents that could trap any who tried to cross without care. One scout stepped forward, its heavy boots sinking slightly into the soft riverbank. Talon watched from a hidden ridge as the scout triggered the trap. Energy nets rose from beneath the water, glowing with a sudden light, and the scout was lifted and held, unable to call for help immediately. The other scouts paused, confused by the unexpected attack. They fired their weapons blindly into the forest, but nothing hit its target. Talon's team moved like shadows, striking quickly and retreating before the aliens could respond. Every trap, every tactic was designed to show the invaders that Vora was not defenseless. "Look at them," one scout said, his voice trembling. "They are not just animals. They are prepared." Talon smiled quietly. This was exactly what he wanted. The aliens needed to understand that Vora could fight, and that fighting it would be dangerous. But the Vorians did not seek to destroy blindly. Their goal was to protect, to defend their homes, their families, and their world. As the day progressed, small skirmishes continued. The aliens advanced, but every step was met with clever resistance. Fallen trees blocked their paths, and wildlife, trained to respond to Vorian commands, created confusion. Birds that seemed ordinary at first swooped down, activating small devices on the aliens' machines. Small animals carried messages between Vorian teams, and even the wind seemed to guide Talon and his forces. The aliens regrouped at their base, frustrated. They had expected easy victory, but the Vorians were proving unpredictable. Talon observed them from the forest, noting every reaction, every movement. He understood their technology, but more importantly, he understood their mindset. They were arrogant, believing in the superiority of their machines and weapons. That arrogance would be their weakness. By evening, the first major encounter occurred. A squad of aliens tried to advance toward Lyra, believing that striking at the city would force the Vorians to surrender. Talon led a larger Vorian team, using the forest and river traps to channel the aliens into narrow paths. There, energy barriers rose, and devices hidden among the rocks disabled the aliens' communication systems. Panic spread among the invaders, and Talon's forces pressed their advantage carefully, never wasting energy, never taking unnecessary risks. The battle was not loud or destructive in the way the aliens expected. It was precise, controlled, and intelligent. The invaders realized that brute force alone would not win this fight. Every machine they deployed was neutralized in some way, every plan countered by the clever use of Vora itself. By nightfall, the Zeroth Dominion scouts were forced to retreat. They reported back to their commanders, shaken and confused. The Vorians had shown strength, but more than that, they had shown intelligence, strategy, and a deep connection to their home world. Talon returned to Lyra, exhausted but satisfied. The city was safe, at least for now. Families emerged from their homes, looking to him and the other leaders for guidance. The first encounter had been a warning, a message sent without words: Vora would not surrender. "We will not fight blindly," Talon said to the council. "We will use our knowledge, our land, and our unity. They will learn that we are more than they ever expected." The night was quiet, but the tension remained. The Vorians knew that the Zeroth Dominion would return with greater force. But they also knew that they had shown the first spark of resistance. And sparks, when fueled by courage and unity, could become a blaze no invader could extinguish. Talon stood again on the cliffs, looking at the alien ships glowing faintly against the dark sky. He felt the pulse of Vora beneath his feet. It was strong, steady, and alive. And it would fight alongside its people when the time came. Tomorrow, the battle would continue. And Vora, underestimated as it was, would be ready to reveal more of its hidden strength. The dawn light stretched across Vora, touching the forests, rivers, and mountains with golden warmth. Talon walked among the ancient trees, their roots winding like silent guardians of the land. The first skirmishes with the Zeroth Dominion had shown that the invaders underestimated Vora. But Talon knew that mere traps and clever tactics would not be enough. To truly defend their home, they needed to unlock the hidden strength of the planet itself. Legends spoke of the heart of Vora, a place deep within the mountains where the planet's energy flowed strongest. Few had seen it, and fewer still had learned to channel it. Talon had studied the old maps and texts for years. Now, with the invaders on their doorstep, he believed the time had come. He gathered a team of the most skilled and trusted Vorians. Among them were Myra, a scout with unmatched knowledge of the forests, Ryan, a builder who understood the energy devices of old, and Sela, a young strategist who could see patterns others missed. Together, they set out toward the mountains, moving quietly through paths hidden to the naked eye. The journey was not easy. Rivers surged faster than usual, winds whispered warnings through the trees, and strange creatures, guided by the planet itself, blocked the paths of those who were careless. But Talon and his team moved with purpose, respecting Vora and listening to its signals. The planet seemed alive, guiding them, testing them, preparing them for what was to come. At last, they reached a cavern entrance hidden behind a waterfall. Inside, glowing crystals lined the walls, pulsing with a faint light. The air hummed with energy, and Talon felt a warmth spread through his body. This was the heart of Vora, a source of power older than any building or city on the planet. Ryan carefully placed small devices among the crystals, designed to amplify and focus the planet's energy. Myra and Sela followed Talon's instructions, forming a circle that connected their minds and hearts with the energy around them. Slowly, the energy began to flow through them. They felt stronger, faster, and more aware. Every muscle, every sense, every thought became sharper. "This is more than power," Talon said softly. "This is Vora itself. It has chosen us to protect it." For hours, they trained and practiced, learning to use the energy without losing control. The heart of Vora was patient but demanding. It rewarded focus, unity, and respect, and punished arrogance or carelessness. By the time they emerged from the cavern, the sun was high in the sky. The team felt renewed, ready to face the Zeroth Dominion with a new strength that the invaders could never understand. Meanwhile, the alien scouts grew bolder. They had begun exploring deeper forests and plains, expecting the Vorians to be disorganized. But each trap they encountered, each machine disabled, showed them that the planet and its people were clever and coordinated. They did not yet know the true source of Vora's power. Talon returned to Lyra with his team, sharing what they had learned. The city council listened carefully, eyes wide with wonder. Ancient devices, long thought to be mere artifacts, could be activated to channel Vora's energy. Hidden pathways could direct this energy into defensive shields, barriers, and even small pulses that could disable alien machinery. The planet itself had become their ally. Tomorrow, we will strike with precision, Talon said. The aliens believe they are invincible, but they do not know our strength. They do not know Vora. The night before the planned attack was filled with quiet preparation. Citizens of Lyra moved through the streets, placing small devices, reinforcing barriers, and learning to work in harmony with the energy flowing through the planet. Families whispered encouragements to the young warriors. Talon walked among them, feeling the determination that grew in every heart. As the stars appeared in the sky, Talon stood on the cliffs again. He looked at the alien ships resting in the plains, unaware of the hidden strength of the world they had come to conquer. The energy of Vora pulsed beneath his feet, steady and strong, ready to fight alongside its people. They believe we are weak, Talon said, his voice firm. They will learn that the land they tried to claim is alive, and it will defend itself. They do not know what it means to awaken a homeworld's fury. The first rays of dawn would soon touch the forests again, and with them, the Vorians would reveal the true power of Vora. It was not just the strength of weapons or machines, but the unity of a people with their home. And that strength, Talon knew, could not be stopped by any invader. Tomorrow, the battle would continue. But this time, the Vorians would not only defend, they would fight with a force that had been hidden for generations, a force that would shock the Zeroth Dominion and change the course of the war before it truly began. Morning arrived over Vora with a calm that belied the tension in the plains. The Zeroth Dominion's ships gleamed under the sun, and their soldiers moved confidently through the open fields. They believed the Vorians were still weak, still unprepared. They had no idea that Vora itself had joined the fight. Talon stood atop a cliff overlooking the plains. He felt the pulse of the planet beneath him, strong and steady, as if it shared his determination. Behind him, the young warriors of Lyra gathered, ready to act on his command. They had trained with the planet's energy and were prepared to strike with precision. Every Vorian knew their role, every device was set, and every trap had been carefully planned. Today, they will learn that we are not defenseless, Talon said, his voice calm but firm. Vora will show its strength, and we will defend it with everything we have. At his signal, the attack began. From the forests, trees and vines moved with purpose, guided by the energy flowing through the land. They created barriers, blocked paths, and forced the aliens into narrow corridors where the Vorians could strike. The rivers shifted slightly, forming currents that slowed the alien machines. Even the wind seemed to carry subtle warnings, alerting the Vorians to the invaders' movements. The first wave of alien soldiers stepped into the traps. Energy nets lifted them from the ground, and barriers of light slowed their advance. Machines that had seemed unstoppable now faltered under the subtle but powerful influence of Vora. Confusion spread among the invaders. Their sensors, designed for precision, failed to account for a planet that fought back. Talon and his team moved through the shadows, striking with energy devices that disrupted alien machinery. Myro led a squad along hidden paths, dropping pulses that disabled weapons. Ryan used his knowledge of ancient technology to guide energy flows into the traps, making them stronger. Sela coordinated the defenders, ensuring that every move was synchronized with the planet's power. The aliens tried to regroup, but Vora was relentless. Trees shifted, roots rose from the soil, and creatures trained by the Vorians created chaos. The sky seemed alive, reflecting the strength of the planet and the determination of its people. Every step the invaders took was met with resistance, and they began to realize that their strength alone could not win this battle. Amid the chaos, Talon focused on the largest alien command ship. It hovered above the plains, its weapons ready to strike. Using the energy from the heart of Vora, he guided a concentrated pulse through hidden channels in the land. The energy surged upward, hitting the ship and causing its systems to flicker. Aliens inside the ship struggled to regain control as their sensors failed, and their weapons malfunctioned. "This is only the beginning," Talon whispered. "Vora will not be defeated." The battle continued for hours. The aliens fought bravely, but every attack was met with clever defense. Vorians did not rely on brute force. They used intelligence, strategy, and the energy of their home world to outmaneuver the invaders. Every trap, every pulse, every movement was part of a greater plan. By late afternoon, the Zeroth Dominion was forced to retreat temporarily. Their soldiers had suffered losses, their machines were damaged, and their confidence had been shaken. They had expected an easy conquest, but they had encountered a force unlike any other. Vora itself had revealed its fury, and it was a power they could not ignore. Talon and his team returned to Lyra, greeted by citizens who had watched the battle from safe locations. There was relief, but also pride. The Vorians had not only defended their homes, they had proven that intelligence, unity, and the bond with their planet could overcome even the most powerful invaders. "This is what we have always known," Talon said to the council. "Vora is alive, and it protects those who honor it. Today, we have shown the Zeroth Dominion that strength is not only in weapons, but in the heart of a people and the world they call home." The city celebrated quietly. Families embraced, young warriors shared stories of the day, and elders nodded with approval. The first major encounter had ended, but the war was far from over. The Vorians knew that the invaders would return, stronger and more determined. But now, they also knew that they had the power to resist and the courage to fight. As night fell, Talon stood again on the cliffs, looking toward the plains where the alien ships rested. The stars reflected in his eyes, and he felt the pulse of Vora stronger than ever. The planet had shown its first fury, and it was only the beginning. "They will return," he said softly. "But they will not find the weak world they imagined. They will find a planet alive, and a people united. And when they face us again, they will learn the full power of Vora." With that, Talon returned to Lyra, ready to prepare for the next battle. The Vorians had revealed their strength, but they would continue to grow stronger, guided by their home world and their determination. The fury of Vora had awakened, and nothing would stop it from defending its people. The sun rose over Vora once more, casting light on the battle-scarred plains. The Zeroth Dominion had regrouped overnight, bringing more soldiers and larger machines. They were determined to crush the Vorians and claim the planet. But Talon and his people had grown stronger. They had learned from the previous encounters, and they knew the land like no outsider could. Talon gathered his team in the early morning light. Myra, Ryan, and Sela stood beside him, ready to lead squads of defenders. "Today," Talon said, "we show them that Vora cannot be taken by force. Today, we turn the battle in our favor." The first wave of invaders advanced into the forests. They expected chaos and disorganization, but they found careful preparation. Energy traps disabled machines before they could fire. Hidden barriers redirected their troops into narrow paths where the Vorians waited. Birds and small creatures moved among the alien ranks, carrying signals and creating confusion. Every step the aliens took was met with resistance they could not anticipate. Talon led a small group toward the alien supply lines. They moved silently, guided by the flow of the planet's energy. Ryan had prepared devices that could disrupt the machines carrying supplies, while Myra and Sela guided the team through secret paths. The aliens had not expected such precision. Within minutes, the supply machines faltered, and their soldiers were forced to stop and repair them, leaving the front lines weaker. Meanwhile, across the plains, Vorian teams coordinated attacks using energy pulses from the heart of Vora. These pulses disrupted weapons and communications, causing panic among the invaders. Sela's strategy was flawless. Each squad acted in perfect sync with the energy flow, creating a network of resistance that the aliens could not break. The turning point came when Talon and his team reached the largest supply convoy. The aliens had concentrated their resources here, believing it was safe. Using a carefully timed energy pulse, the Vorians disabled the convoy and trapped the soldiers in a clearing surrounded by energy barriers. The invaders realized that their advantage was slipping. Their machines were faltering, and the Vorians were striking with intelligence and precision. The aliens tried to call for reinforcements, but the communication systems had been disrupted. Panic spread among their ranks. They had faced resistance before, but never like this. The Vorians were not just defending, they were attacking strategically, using their homeworld as both shield and weapon. Back in Lyra, the citizens watched from safe areas, their hearts swelling with hope. Families who had feared the invaders now saw that their people could fight. Young warriors who had trained with the planet's energy moved confidently, each action carefully planned. The city was alive with determination, and that energy spread across the land. Talon's team returned to the front lines as the day reached its peak. They coordinated a final strike on the alien command ship hovering above the plains. Using the amplified energy from the heart of Vora, they targeted the ship's core systems. The pulse surged upward, hitting the alien vessel with precision. Lights flickered across its surface, and alarms blared. The invaders struggled to regain control, but the Vorians were relentless. The aliens began a slow retreat. Their soldiers were confused, their machines damaged, and their confidence shattered. For the first time, they realized that Vora was not a world to be conquered easily. Its people were united, intelligent, and in perfect harmony with the planet itself. Talon watched from the ridge as the remaining alien forces fled. He felt a surge of pride in his people. They had taken the fight to the invaders and shown that strength was not only in machines or numbers, but in unity, courage, and connection to their home world. Back in Lyra, the council met to assess the situation. Elders, warriors, and strategists all agreed that this victory, while small in scale, had changed the course of the war. The Vorians had proven that they could resist the invaders and turn the battle to their favor. "This is only the beginning," Talon said. "But today, we have shown them that Vora is alive. We have shown them that we will not surrender. We have begun to turn the tide, and we will continue to grow stronger." The citizens cheered quietly from their homes and safe areas. The young warriors returned, exhausted but victorious, and families embraced. Hope had replaced fear, and determination had replaced doubt. Vora had revealed its strength, and the people had learned that they were capable of far more than they had imagined. As night fell, Talon stood once more on the cliffs, looking at the retreating alien forces. The stars reflected in his eyes, and he felt the pulse of the planet strong beneath him. Vora had begun to awaken fully, and its fury had shown the invaders that this world would never be easy to conquer. "They will return," Talon said softly. "But they will face a world united and strong. Today, we turn the battle. Tomorrow, we will continue to fight with all that Vora has given us." The first victory had been won, but the war was far from over. The Vorians had proven their strength, and the Zeroth Dominion would soon learn that this was a people and a planet to be respected. The turning point had come, and the fury of Vora would only grow stronger with each challenge. The day broke with a quiet that hid the tension building across Vora. The Zeroth Dominion had returned with full force, determined to crush the resistance and claim the planet. Their ships blotted out the sky in some areas, and massive machines moved across the plains, ready to attack. But the Vorians were prepared, and Talon felt the pulse of the planet strong beneath his feet, steady and unyielding. Talon gathered his closest team and the leaders of Lyra. Myra, Ryan, and Sela stood beside him, their faces calm but determined. "This is the moment," Talon said. "They believe they can conquer us, but they do not know our strength. They do not know Vora. The first wave of alien soldiers entered the forests and plains near Lyra. They moved with precision and power, but the Vorians had anticipated their every move. Energy barriers rose, hidden paths funneled the invaders into traps, and devices amplified the flow of planetary energy to disrupt their machines. Even the wind and rivers seemed to act in concert with the defenders, slowing the enemy and protecting the Vorian warriors. Talon led a strike team toward the alien command ship hovering above the plains. It was larger and more powerful than any they had faced before, and its weapons could destroy entire villages in moments. Using channels of energy connected to the heart of Vora, Talon focused a pulse through the mountains and forests, aiming directly at the ship's core. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the energy flowed upward, striking the vessel with concentrated force. Inside the ship, alarms blared. The alien commanders struggled to regain control, but their systems faltered under the sudden surge. Energy shields flickered, and some of the largest weapons shut down completely. Panic spread among the invaders, and Talon's team pressed forward, striking enemy forces at every vulnerable point. Across the plains, Vorians coordinated attacks with intelligence and precision. Myro led squads through hidden paths to disable supply lines, while Ryan used ancient devices to disrupt alien communications. Sela directed energy pulses to protect the defending warriors and amplify their attacks. The battlefield was alive with the strength of the planet and the courage of its people. The aliens attempted to push forward, but every effort met with resistance. Trees shifted, rivers changed course slightly, and creatures trained by the Vorians created confusion among the invaders. Machines that had once seemed unstoppable now faltered under the subtle power of Vora. Soldiers realized that their advanced technology was no match for a planet united with its people. In the heart of the battlefield, Talon faced a moment of clarity. He realized that the victory would not come from destruction, but from strategy and unity. The Vorians moved as one with their home world, striking where the aliens were weakest and defending where they were strongest. The invaders could not predict the movements of a planet defending itself through its people. Hours passed, and the battle reached its climax. The alien command ship began to descend, hoping to strike a final blow, but Talon directed a massive surge of energy from the heart of Vora. The pulse struck the ship, causing critical damage and forcing it to retreat. The invaders' morale collapsed, and their remaining forces began to withdraw in confusion. Vora's people had won. The battle had been fierce, but the Vorians' intelligence, courage, and unity had triumphed over the might of the Zeroth Dominion. The planet itself had fought alongside its people, amplifying their strengths and defending their homes. Talon returned to Lyra as the citizens emerged from their safe zones. Families embraced, warriors shared quiet words of relief, and elders nodded with pride. Vora had survived, and its people had proven that even the mightiest invader could not take a home world by force. "This is more than a victory," Talon said to the council. "It is proof that our unity and our connection to Vora make us strong. The invaders underestimated us, but they have learned the truth. Vora is alive, and it will defend itself." The night fell, and the stars reflected across the mountains and rivers. Talon walked among the people, feeling their determination and hope. The planet had shown its full power, and the Vorians had risen to meet it. Their courage and strategy had turned the tide of the war. "They will not forget this day," Talon said softly. "And neither will we. Vora has shown its strength, and we have shown our spirit. Together, we are unstoppable." The citizens of Lyra rested that night, knowing that the battle was won. The Zeroth Dominion had been defeated, and Vora remained free. But Talon knew that vigilance would always be necessary. The planet's fury had been revealed, and its people had proved their worth. The future was bright, and Vora would continue to grow stronger, guided by the wisdom and courage of those who called it home. The sun rose over Vora, painting the sky in gold and crimson. The plains and forests were quiet now, but the land bore the marks of battle. Trees had fallen, rivers had shifted, and the air carried the faint hum of energy from the heart of Vora. The Zeroth Dominion had retreated, their ships disappearing into the horizon. The planet and its people had survived. Talon walked through Lyra, feeling the pulse of the city and the land beneath him. Citizens moved through the streets, repairing homes, sharing food, and helping each other. There was relief in every face, but also pride. They had faced an enemy they had been told was unbeatable, and they had shown courage, intelligence, and unity. "We did it," Myra said quietly, standing beside Talon. "They will think twice before returning." Talon nodded. "Yes, but this is more than just a victory. It is proof of what we are capable of. Vora is alive, and it fights alongside those who protect it. We have shown that strength comes not only from weapons, but from the people and the world they call home." Ryan added, "The machines they used were powerful, but they did not understand our ways. They did not know the land, the energy, or the unity that binds us. That was their greatest mistake." Sela smiled. "And now they know. They will remember Vora." The council gathered to discuss the future. Leaders from every city, every village, and every community joined. They shared stories of the battles, of how families had helped each other, of how young warriors had guided their elders through the dangers of the plains. Every person had played a part, and every person had shown courage. "We must remain vigilant," Talon said. "The Zeroth Dominion may return, but we have learned, and we are stronger than before. Our world has shown its power, and our people have shown their courage. That is a combination no enemy can easily defeat." The elders nodded in agreement. They spoke of the ancient devices hidden throughout the land, the energy channels connected to the heart of Vora, and the strength of the forests and rivers. They reminded everyone that this victory was not only the result of battle, but of respect, knowledge, and unity. That evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Talon climbed to the cliffs overlooking the plains. The alien ships were gone, but the memory of their presence lingered. He felt the pulse of the planet strong beneath his feet, steady and proud. Vora had defended itself, and its people had risen to the challenge. "They thought we were weak," Talon said softly, "but they have learned the truth. This is our home, and we will protect it. No power in the galaxy can take it from us without facing our unity, our courage, and our strength." In the days that followed, the citizens of Vora worked together to rebuild and strengthen their defenses. Families planted new trees, repaired homes, and restored the rivers. Young warriors continued their training, learning not only to fight, but to understand the flow of energy in the planet. Vora itself seemed to heal with them, its pulse growing stronger as its people cared for it. Messages traveled across the galaxy, carried by travelers and scouts who had witnessed the events. Other civilizations spoke in awe of Vora, a world that had been underestimated but had revealed its full power. The Zeroth Dominion, once confident in their conquest, now regarded the planet with caution and respect. They had learned a lesson that few empires ever forget: a people united with their home world cannot be defeated by force alone. Talon returned to Lyra, standing among his people as the city celebrated quietly but proudly. He watched children play in the streets, young warriors train, and elders share their wisdom. He felt hope and determination in every heartbeat. Vora had faced the greatest threat it had ever known, and it had emerged victorious. "This is just the beginning," Talon said to Myra, Ryan, and Sela. "We have defended our home, but we must continue to grow stronger. Vora will always be ready, and its people will always rise to meet any challenge." The stars appeared in the sky that night, reflected in the rivers and mountains. Talon looked at them and felt the connection between the planet, its people, and the universe beyond. Vora was more than a world, it was a living, breathing force, guided by the courage and unity of its people. And in that quiet, strong night, Talon knew the truth of what they had achieved. They had not only defended their home, They had shown the galaxy the power of a civilization that cherishes its world and stands together in the face of any threat. The Zeroth Dominion had underestimated them. Vora had revealed its fury, and the people had proven that no invader could break the bond between a home world and those who love it. The planet and its citizens had earned their victory, and they would carry the memory of this triumph for generations to come. Vora was free. Its people were united. Its strength was undeniable. And the galaxy had been reminded that even the smallest world could rise to greatness when its people stood as one.